Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back from the ad break. You're still watching Prime Live. I am joined by Sheena O'Connell, and we will be speaking about the PyCon Africa conference that brings together a diverse community of developers, researchers, and enthusiasts to share their passion for Python programming language. Now, tonight we will be talking to the talented and accomplished Sheena, and she will be just telling us about the whole Python community, the passion behind it, and because she is also an educator and a software engineer, which makes it very interesting. So this is a conversation that I am really, really looking forward to, and I believe she is already on Zoom joining us and ready to have a conversation with us. I mean, thank you so much for joining us, Sheena. Welcome to Prime Life, and good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for having me back.
You are welcome. Now, you have worked as, both as an educator, a software engineer. What do you feel is the importance of fostering a strong Python community, especially in Africa, to support the growth of the industry?
Oh, it's so important. Like if you were to take Python as the language and just turn it off, the global GDP would drop. It's quite a big deal on its own, and the language itself it's open source, and part of the reason it's such a big deal is because the open source community uses it a lot to build tools that people rely on. So fostering that community is just good for everyone. Um, Conferences like PyCon Africa are especially powerful because it brings people together. So it brings folks from industry, people who are professional developers, people who work at big corporates and small companies, and students and educators, and like it's a very diverse group. And if you bring all these people together and let them just like be nerds together for a while, all sorts of fantastic things happen. There's all sorts of connections that get made. There are many opportunities for cross-pollination of ideas, and it catalyzes things. So that's the first thing. The other thing that's really important about it is, sure, I'm not breathing enough because I'm excited. The other thing that's really cool, and especially powerful, is the fact that it gives people who are earlier on in their career an opportunity to interact with like quite a large group of people who know what's going on. Software development it's confusing right now, and people who are at the beginning of their journeys, they it's an especially confusing time for them. There's a lot of just like hype and noise in the ecosystem, and it's hard for people to find direction. There's a lot of bad advice out there. There's a lot of good advice out there, and just having the opportunity to interact with like professionals is very, very powerful, because it can set people's directions and can inspire them to keep going in a direction when they weren't that sure before. So it's really important for them. And like junior developers right now, they struggle to get work, for all sorts of reasons, and it's been a struggle for a while. For organizations that write code, if they want to continue building cool stuff for the foreseeable future, I mean, imagine like what the workforce will look like in 5 years if all of the junior developers that we have now don't get opportunities to grow. So it's especially important to get these younger folks interacting with the broader community so that they can like find a direction, but also so that they can make an impression. Like if they find a way to come to these things and add value in some way, do a good thing in some way, just like show people who they are, then that's a foot in the door. So it's a really, really good opportunity for them as well. So it's really a multifaceted thing. South Africa is like, it's pretty mature in terms of its software development capabilities. Like we do a lot of really, really cool stuff here. Other African countries often don't have the same level of industry. So if we want to help those industries to form, then it's useful to physically go there, go take part in different conferences and different events and different community things there, to bolster the communities that exist, and add a little bit of guidance, just add some knowledge, add some inspiration.
That's quite interesting. And one of the unique aspects of PyCon Africa is its focus on inclusivity and diversity.
Mm.
Can you share some insights, on how the conference encourages a very welcoming and supportive atmosphere for all the attendees, regardless of their, background and experience level?
Mm. Okay, yeah, it's quite a big deal. Um, like we welcome all sorts of folks with wide open arms, and it's not just about like welcoming people to come. We actively like bring people in, so we don't necessarily. Okay, so we've got a few different mechanisms in place. The one thing that we do is we're a non-profit event. We're a non-profit organization, and we raise a bunch of funds from a bunch of different places, and then we use those funds to open doors. So one thing we do is we support folks who wouldn't otherwise be able to afford to attend the event. So we give people grants. So if somebody wants to travel in from a surrounding country and they just like can't quite make it work, then we'll help them out. We don't necessarily like directly aim for diversity. We aim for um, just like adding value where people need it. So just like, cool, you need a thing, you're contributing in this way. You want to come do a talk, you want to come run a workshop, or you're a student. So we'll support folks based on that. So that increases diversity. Another thing that we do is we offer discounted prices for students and for pensioners as well. And like again, we're a non-profit. We do have costs, and we make like quite a big loss on our student tickets and our pensioner tickets, but we're okay with that. Then the other thing that we do is we run a beginners day. So beginners day is a full day of workshops that are free, like totally free, and no Python or any coding experience is actually required at all in order to attend this. We do have a cap on how many people we can support, and people need to apply to be able to take part. But the goal with that is just to get more people involved, to open more doors, to show people what's possible, and that improves diversity as well. And then the last thing is we're explicit about things. So when we start the main conference, part of our opening address sets the tone. And the tone is like, let's be welcoming. Let's welcome people to join our conversations. Like, if, we do some really cute things as well. So we've got this thing called the Pac-Man principles. That game. If you're standing in a group and you're standing in a circle and it's a closed circle, it's hard for people that don't know you to join your circle and join your conversation. So instead of making a closed circle, you make a Pac-Man. You leave a little gap, and that little gap is a signal. It's like, okay, cool, this isn't a private conversation. If you want to come and join us, you can join us, and then people will come and join your Pac-Man, and then you can make it a little bit bigger, and that's wonderful. So we have all of these just explicit mechanisms for showing people that they're welcome to join in, and that seems to work pretty well.
Hmm. That's amazing. And what do you believe are the most, exciting opportunities that are now facing the Python community in Africa? But also, can we touch also on the challenges that are also facing the Python community in Africa?
Okay. So the Python community in Africa, like Africa is a very big place and it's not all the same. And different places have different levels of industry. South Africa, again, is like we're pretty good. Some places aren't. And so the fact that there isn't a mature industry means that um, there aren't people there for local people to learn from and to get mentored by. There's no like explicit or um, yeah, there's no like explicit mentoring. There aren't a lot of jobs, so there's all sorts of challenges around that. Um, there's a lot of challenges around resources as well. So PyCon Africa, we needed to raise a ton of money to make this work, and that was hard. That takes a lot of skills and a lot of connections, and people across Africa don't necessarily have that. We've got a lot of local companies who support us, like um, a few of our biggest sponsors are local people who have been part of our community for many, many years and see the benefit of what we're doing. Other countries don't necessarily have that, and that's hard. So, for example, PyCon Zimbabwe didn't happen this year because they just couldn't find the money to make it work, and that's really sad. It's really sad. Like I know a bunch of people from the Zimbabwe community, and they're so sharp and they're so like driven. But it's like if you just don't have the resources, it gets really really difficult. Um, One of the cool things though, so there's a lot of really cool things that are happening. Um, there are a lot of very smart young people who are solving local challenges in local ways. So very recently, I was in Arusha in Tanzania for a conference called PyCon Africa. So Django is a web framework that's built in Python, and it's lovely, and it's got a really, really nice community behind it. It's also open source. It's also nonprofit. And I went to PyCon this year, and the last PyCon was 2 years ago. And I met a couple of the same people in both of these years, and they're young, but they're doing such cool work, and they're solving local problems. There's one guy who who's like, cool, that like it's hard for people who speak Swahili to learn Python, to learn a programming language because everything's in English, and that doesn't work. So he started making a programming language for Swahili speakers. It was called Nuru, and like a bunch of people are using it. It's starting to get adopted in schools, and that's so cool. There's also somebody who's making a hosting service for Africa, so kind of like Heroku and those other like platform as a service things, but an African one. And that's cool because it means that African resources don't end up, like African money doesn't end up like leaving the continent and getting paid to like the big people overseas. The money can stay on the continent. But the other thing that's cool about it is that they're building up infrastructure. They're building up servers. They're building up like physical infrastructure, and that builds up different skills, and that builds up different jobs. Yeah, so there's like loads and loads of things like that I'm seeing, which are just like, they're inspiring, genuinely inspiring. And I'm just like scratching the surface. I haven't spoken to all of the people who are doing cool things, just like just a few that I've seen in conferences, and I keep seeing things like that.
That's brilliant. And now, like, what are your top tips for new programmers that are looking to get started?
So I have a lot of tips, but I think probably top of the list is get in touch with software development communities. Like find a community that you gel with and stick around and learn from that community and try to contribute in some way. So I always bring it back to contribution for a bunch of different reasons. One of the reasons you'd want to contribute as a young person is because you learn skills by doing that. Like you actually you pick up a lot along the way. So with PyCon Africa, for example, we have like quite a large group of folks from across Africa who are helping to organize the event in different ways. People are taking on like different aspects of the planning and doing their bit, and it's all volunteers. And a lot of them are super young, but like I've been impressed by their growth, and I've been impressed by just who they are as people. So after this, I'm gonna write recommendation letters for a bunch of them, because I'm like, this person, like, if you get a chance to hire this person, please do, because they're like maybe they don't always look good on paper yet, but they've demonstrated certain skills. So joining the community lets you learn like the hard technical skills, but it also lets you learn about the different soft skills, and those matter quite a lot as well. Then the other thing that's good about joining a community is that it gives you that direction and helps you cut through the noise and figure out what actually matters and what you should focus on. Then, so we're running this Beginner's Day on the 8th of October, and it's free. So if you are around Joburg, if you have the ability to come to Johannesburg and attend that, then that's a really great opportunity. Like I know a bunch of people who have launched their careers by coming to events like this. There is a limit to what you can learn in a single day, but that day sets you up with tools. It sets you up with a direction. It sets you up with like ideas of like what you can do and what your next steps are, which is really important. But it also connects you with people who are learning just like you, and it connects you with people who like show up and want to teach, which is powerful. Then So that's the first thing. Community is just like solid. Find that. The next thing is just how you pursue your own knowledge. So a lot of people, when they're starting out, they try to, they're like, cool, I'm a junior developer. I want to be a mid-level developer. What does a mid-level developer have? Oh, they have skills in lots of different tools. So I need to learn skills in lots of different tools. And they will then like do these really shallow, like hello worldy projects in all these different tools. And that demonstrates nothing. It demonstrates no skill, because the real skill comes from building something like significant and big. So instead of trying to go wide and just like slightly touch a few different things, rather like think of a project that's actually hard for you. Think of something where like there isn't a tutorial that you can follow. Sure, follow some tutorials to learn the basics, and then take that and say like, cool, I'm going to build this thing that I want to exist. It's hard to think of what project to work on, but like if there's something that you want in your own life, then that's great. If there's something that your mom needs or your community needs back home, like if there's something for like your school, whatever, like if you can solve a legit problem, then that's great. But you can also just get inspired by something on the internet. How hard would it be to build your own little Netflix? Like you won't hit the same scale as Netflix, but like how hard would it be? Can you do it? If you can clone something like serious, then that demonstrates serious skills. So it demonstrates like a depth of knowledge. It demonstrates the ability to like stick to things and solve big problems. It demonstrates grit. And that's all very, very important. And it demonstrates the fact that you can get off the beaten path. Like if you just do tutorials and courses and things like that, then those experiences tend to hold your hand quite a lot. There's like this golden little tidy comfortable path that you can walk down, and if you walk down that path, it's like it's not good proof that you can do the hard stuff. Like you need to walk that path a little bit so you can get the basics down, but there's a lot of competition right now, and you want to stand out. So do something hard, do something that people will look at and they'll be impressed by. Like it's going to be hard. I suppose that's another piece of advice, is like, if it's hard, you're doing it right. Like don't get chased off by things that are difficult, because it's a difficult job. Like we as engineers, like our job is to build, but our job is really to solve problems and to learn. And if you can lean into the difficulty of that and overcome it, then that's really like the main skill. So yeah, I think that's the main advice. Yeah.
I mean, thank you so much for your amazing advice. And I mean, as we're speaking about this, you know, this interesting topic about the Python programming and, all the beautiful advice and knowledge that you have shared so far, many attendees are now obviously eager to know more about the details of the conference. Could you share information about the location, the times, and also let's talk about the ticket prices, and also let us know about the early bird rates for those who are interested?
Okay, awesome. So the early bird rates, unfortunately, are no longer available, but I do have a discount code for your audience. And that is, if you're buying a ticket and you put in the code INX Prime, one word, all capital letters, you'll get 20% off. So the basic ticket prices are, if you're a corporate, 2,000 Rand for a ticket. If you're an individual person just on your own, 1,330 Rand. And then if you're a student or a pensioner or an educator, or even a faculty member, then it's 555 Rand. So the conference itself, it's 5 days, but we have different things happening on the 5 days. So on the 8th of October, it's the beginner's day. That's actually free. We do ask people to pay 50 Rand just to reserve their seat, but then we'll give the 50 Rand back afterwards, because no shows are just wasteful. Then on the 9th and the 10th, that's when the main conference is. So that's when all the talks are happening, and like more advanced workshops and like cool open spaces where people can talk about different things. So that's like, yeah, that's the main event. And then over the weekend, 11th and 12th of October, we have some open source contribution sprints. So basically, what that is we've got a few different open source projects. So we've got the maintainers of those projects hanging out with us, and they're going to be showing people how to write code on their projects and getting more people involved in open source code. So that's on the 11th and 12th. Where is it? So we are doing the event at Wanderers Club in Alovo, Johannesburg.
Hmm. That is very interesting. I mean, Sheena, thank you so much for joining us and just for giving us, details about PyCon Africa conference, but also just the Python community, especially its growth or potential growth that is happening currently in Africa. So thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You are welcome, viewers at home. That was Sheena O'Connell, and she was just telling us about the PyCon Africa conference that was happening. And you did hear right. If you are watching right now and are interested in attending, she did mention that make sure that you do put in the code INX Prime, and you will get the 20% off the tickets. But on that note, let's go to a quick break. We'll see you after this.